Okay, hey, so this video is for anybody who is interested in checking their router for parental controls. First thing we need to do is log into the router and see if it has that functionality. In order to log into the router, you need to know the gateway IP address. For standard routers issued to you from a network provider like Comcast or Verizon, a lot of times you can just look on the router for a sticker and it'll tell you what that default IP address is. However, if you have your own router, that IP address may not be the same, and also sometimes that IP address will rotate. So the best way to find out what that is currently is to just open a command prompt. If you're on Windows, you can click the Windows button, the Start button, and search for CMD or command prompt. You can also press Windows R, that's to run CMD, and that'll pull up a command prompt. So what I have here is on Windows, we'll just type in ipconfig, and here's the default gateway for our router. So the gateway is the gateway to the internet. You can think of it that way. That's basically the funnel where all traffic, network traffic, goes from the internet to your home network and vice versa. Now, if you're on a Mac or an Apple, it's a little different. So you can open a command prompt on Mac and type in ifconfig and look for the details there. You can also just you click in the corner, the little apple, and look for system preferences. In that window, look for network and open that. You can select your Wi-Fi and then click the advanced button, and that should display all of the network information you need. But what you're looking for is your router address or gateway IP. It should display it there if you're running this on a Mac. Now, once you have your router's IP address, your gateway IP, you just open a browser. What I have here is an Opera browser tab. You can use Chrome, Edge, anything that's a browser, and you type that IP address in. So for us here, it's 192.168.50.1. And by the way, anything that starts with 192.168 is an internal IP address. This is pretty universal for all closed networks. So we'll go here, 192.168.50.1. Yours will probably be different. It could be 192.168.0.10. This is the login screen for my router. It will probably look different for you or for anybody doing this. Your username and password with a router issued to you from your network provider. That information is typically on the router itself. Again, look for a sticker and it'll tell you the login details. If you already have your own router, you probably know what that login information is. So you're just going to sign in to your router. Mine is already saved. So I'm going to sign in. And again, with every router, the interface looks different. For this particular one, I have a whole bunch of options. From here, what you just want to do is, based on your router's interface and all the options available, you just kind of want to look through what you have. For this one, my router here, it has a pretty clear parental controls tab, which I can go to. But for other routers, you may have to dig a little bit. And to make matters worse, some routers don't have built-in parental controls. This is why it's important to search everywhere. Check all the options and see what your router can do. For this particular router, we have web and app filters. So this will filter certain content on the web. It'll filter certain apps from generating traffic on your network. I can also even select which device I want to limit. So if I want to limit my cell phone from accessing, right here it even has categories: adult content, messaging and comms. Probably don't want to block that. But let's say I want to block adult content. And another one, a good one to block is peer-to-peer, P2P, and file transfer. This is really common with torrent, when you're torrenting files, which is just peer-to-peer file sharing. It's torrenting, for anybody who doesn't know, is just downloading and sharing files that may or may not be copyrighted. And it's basically pirating content online. A lot of people do engage in torrenting. One of the big concerns, however, is just validating that the file you're downloading is legitimate, and that it is the whole file. I can go into a whole lecture about hashing and how to do that validation, but I won't. But if you block only a couple of things on a device, you could block adult and peer-to-peer file transfer or torrenting. It might be listed as. I don't really want to block streaming and entertainment messaging, but you can do that. Click apply. I'm not actually going to do it here. I'm going to turn off this filter for myself because our kids are still too young to worry about this. There's also a time scheduling. This is also pretty common for routers. I can enable the ability to block all devices from any Wi-Fi traffic during certain hours, and I can enable time scheduling here to do so. I can block certain devices. Again, let's use my phone as an example and add that. Edit the times. I want to block it from 9 to 7. Enable that. So that's just something you can do there. Again, I'm not actually going to do that. I'll turn it off here. But this parental controls tab is something that you want to look for, dig around for in your own router. A lot of routers have other functionalities that will help control certain traffic on your home network. Some routers will even have the ability to track things like web history or bandwidth, like how much bandwidth is being consumed by certain devices. This particular router is high in functionality and it was pretty expensive. But if your router doesn't have the functionalities you're looking for, you can just go to Amazon and type in something like home router with parental controls. There are lots of good options you can get for under $100. This particular one that I have, if you really want a robust router with all the options, this particular one was $500. And I've had it for about half a year. One of the big reasons that I got it is because it has tri-band capability. So it doesn't just transmit over 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bandwidths, it also transmits over 6 gigahertz. So it basically increases the aggregate amount of bandwidth, the speed that you're able to transmit home network data simultaneously. So anyway, that's an option, but you can find lots of other great options for 100 or less. So I hope that helps. In summary, we just want to figure out how to sign into our router. Look for your router's IP address. Once you do that, open a web browser, type in that IP address, and that will bring you to a sign-in page. Sign into your router, and from there you can have fun digging into all the different controls and options for your router. Hope this helps.